Well, we're always hopeful, and as you know, the negotiations are continuing. We've got our teams still out there in Brussels, and if there's a big offer, a big change in what they're saying, then I must say that I've yet to see it. Unfortunately, at the moment, as you know, there are two key things where we just can't seem to make progress, and that's this kind of ratchet clause they've got in to keep the UK locked in to whatever they want to do in terms of legislation, which obviously doesn't work. And then there's the whole issue of fish, where we've got to be able to take back control of our waters. So there's a way to go. We're hopeful that progress can be made, but I've got to tell you that from where I stand now, here in Blythe, it's looking very, very likely that we'll have to go for a solution that I think would be wonderful for the UK. We'd be able to do exactly what we want from January the 1st. Obviously, it would be different from what we'd set out to achieve, but I've no doubt that this country can get ready and, as I say, come out on world trade terms.
We speak to our political correspondent Tom Rayner, who's in Westminster, for us about this. Boris Johnson trying to put a gloss on the no-deal reality that's staring us in the face if they aren't able to make this deal by Sunday. A little bit more optimistic than what we heard this morning from a government minister who said we'll be able to survive, not exactly a ringing endorsement.
Yeah, I think there is sort of three notable points from that statement from the Prime Minister. The first, the implication that, as far as he is concerned, it is for the EU to move and to offer something rather than the UK government, when he said if there is a big offer or a big change in what they are saying, then I'm yet to see it. I think that is something where that may raise some eyebrows in Brussels, who feel that it's the UK that needs to make some move if there is to be some form of agreement. I think the other thing that was interesting is that he referred to this the aspect of disagreement on the level playing field, which is the degree to which the UK and the EU would agree to maintain standards of regulations. He described the ratchet clause as being something that keeps the UK locked into whatever they want to do in terms of legislation, which obviously doesn't work. Well, I think we'll hear more from Michelle in a moment in Brussels about this, but earlier Ursula von der Leyen, the EU representative there, was saying that ultimately the UK would be able to choose not to follow in the steps that the EU takes. It would simply be the case that that decision would incur some consequence in terms of the market. But of course the UK says that that's a false choice, because if the EU were able to wield the threat of tariffs in the event that the UK didn't follow its regulatory changes, then that is akin to being forced to follow. So I think what you're seeing is the contours of where that dispute is. In other words, how does either side determine what is a regulation they have to follow, and should it be a unilateral decision of the EU to say that the UK must follow or face reduced market access or tariffs, or should it be something that goes via some form of arbitration? I think these are the areas where people are going to be discussing potential ways forward over the next few days. And of course, Sunday has been identified both by the UK government and indeed the EU as a point at which they need to take an assessment as to whether or not there is any reason or point to continuing talks. But fundamentally, it's worth noting that ultimately what they're saying is whether the assessment on Sunday will be about whether the conditions are there to continue talks. They're not saying there has to be a deal itself agreed by Sunday, which is what some people have, it seems, interpreted from what we've heard in the last few days. One final point I think just worth pointing out is at the end there, Boris Johnson said that if a trade deal isn't agreed, then the UK will be able to come out on world trade terms. Now, of course, in the last few days, in fact, the last few weeks, he's been referring to it as Australia-style arrangements, being accused by his critics of trying to put a positive gloss on what would be leaving without a trade deal. Now, following some comments by Malcolm Turnbull, the former Australian Prime Minister, last night, who said that the Australian terms of trade with the EU weren't necessarily all that good, I think it's interesting that Boris Johnson appears to have dropped that reference point and is now explicitly saying World Trade Organisation terms.